Forget what you learned in school. Never mind what your parents told you, and disregard what your friends say. From now on, the only people you need to listen to are these guys. For the next several minutes, they'll take you on a journey through the political jungle. And when your journey is over and you're safe at home, they promise you'll be stronger, smarter, and just plain better. So buckle up, hang on to your ears, because your journey starts now. Is the time of year.
Yes, it is. Getting closer to the end of the world.
It is. Just a few days away, and it's been nice knowing you, Nate.
Yeah, what?
I'll pay you that money I owe you on Saturday.
Tuesday night, Saturday. Okay, yeah, the 21st is the day the Mayan calendar should end.
That's Friday.
Or that's the day the Mayan calendar does end, I guess.
No, Friday.
Some people. Yeah, Friday. So
yeah, I'll pay you Saturday.
The world will be ended, and
so I got a 50-50 chance of not paying you back. So anyways, welcome to another episode of At Odds, now live in the back room of the Doubleheader Bar and Studio in the greater Lansing area, in the great state of Michigan. In what country, Nate?
Canada this time.
Canada.
These live shows, we can't travel too far, you know. I mean,
no.
I had to work today and had to get home and drive to Canada. So
yeah, it's about time you showed up.
They could really use a new bridge, though.
Oh,
I think if they
yeah, we're not far from Canada. Well, I mean, Michigan's not far from Canada. We're in Canada.
Yeah, generally we're not too far from Canada, and now
no, anyways,
we couldn't get any closer.
We couldn't get any closer. Did you enjoy that strip search when you were coming across the border? I know you kind of did. You were smiling,
but turns out the guy didn't work for the Border Patrol at all.
I told you that. We weren't even near the border. We were stopping and we were getting gas.
It was in Flint. I don't know. Jeez. I don't know why, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, at least he had gloves on.
Yeah, he did for the second half of it. So.
Today's show, we'll be talking about guns and gun-free zones. We'll talk about school shootings and more. So don't go away. And this is a live show, so you can call. The number is 248-455 odds, ODDS, or 248-455-6337. And give us a call if you have questions or comments about the topic today, or just about anything you want to talk about.
Really anything in general. I mean, I have a nice hang-up button, so if we don't like what you're saying, we can do that. So, no, give us a call. We'd love to hear from you.
And this is the Internet, so, there's no censors, so you can say and speak your mind. Not that...
Again, I have that mute button.
So. We don't necessarily want you always to speak your mind.
We try to keep it clean.
Yeah, we do. Well, we can talk about the Sandy Hook Elementary school shooting.
Sandy Hook, yeah. We talked about it a bit on Friday, which was actually the day it happened. Just a little recap, basically.
Found some more information out.
Yeah, we did. 20-year-old Adam Lanza, right?
The younger brother of the first person they were saying.
A younger brother from the guy who the media incorrectly tagged as the shooter to begin with. Sounds like he took a few of his mother's firearms, went to the school.
Two handguns and a rifle.
I want to kind of apologize for something that I said that was actually found out was incorrect. First of all, his mother, it sounds like she did not work at the school and really had no affiliation with the elementary school.
And either did he, apparently. He didn't go there as a student, apparently.
Yep. And also, it was reported originally that he got buzzed in, and it was, seemed like it was pretty easy for him to get in because his mother had that relationship.
Right.
Sounds like he actually broke in. I think it was through a window.
He shot the window out.
Yeah, so
they heard shots going
So
on.
Their security, they're
not adequate, but it wasn't sloppy.
Right. Yep.
And I'm sure they'll revisit that.
Yeah, I think, and schools are all over the country. I mean, here in Canada, got an email from the local school talking about. It didn't say much. It said, "We have a procedure, and we will talk to our police chief about the procedure. So let us know if you have any questions about our procedure."
Letting everyone know about it.
Yeah, it didn't say anything
okay.
about the procedure, but they have one. And
this was a school that you're associated with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In quotation marks, Canada.
Yeah, not in Canada. No.
Yeah.
No, actually in Michigan, where we are from. So.
Well, apparently Adam Lanza, the shooter, also had some autism, apparently, Asperger syndrome.
Yeah.
Which can be difficult, and he may have been on some kind of antipsychotic medication as well.
Yep.
So we're finding out more information.
Yeah, and I mean, it sounded like his mother was pretty well off. She was divorced from her husband, but I don't know.
Well, she
had
like
some money. She had like $1 million house or something.
Yeah.
I heard.
Yeah.
And her friends or people that knew her said that if Adam needed counseling and needed help, and she thought that she definitely would have had him in that. And obviously that's hearsay, and it's third party talking about what she would have done. But that's really, really interesting. The big discussion has been on what can we do to prevent these shootings, and if people aren't talking about gun control, they're talking about mental illness and what can we do to curb mental illness and either heal it or keep people safe from these people, and they talk about warning signs and things like this. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit. I understand that most of these shootings after the fact, hindsight's 20/20, we say, oh yeah, he said these things that maybe we should have looked at a little more closely and thought something was up. But I mean, what do you do? Are you supposed to just arrest these people that say something that may be threatening, or they exhibit sign? He tried to buy a firearm and he wasn't allowed, whether it was due to a background check or a waiting period. I mean, that's not really clear. But he went and tried to buy a rifle
at Dick's Sporting Goods.
And wasn't allowed to buy the rifle. So I mean,
that worked.
Yeah, it did work, but it didn't stop the shooting. He found a way to do it.
Yep.
But what do you do, even if somebody says, I'm going to blow up a school?
Right.
What do you do to those people?
Well, it's funny because I just saw on the local news for the state of Michigan that they had 3 school shooting incidences. And yeah, one of them was, here's the shooting incidents they had. The headline news was, they let a student back into school after a year suspension because he brought guns to school. That was the shooting. That was
the incident?
Yeah. And the other was some student threatened to get a gun and shoot the teacher, so they locked down the school, I mean, that's another shooting, I guess.
Yeah.
So, I mean, good Lord. You're not going to be able to say anything anymore. I mean...
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, of course...
Big Brother's watching everything.
Of course, parents and teachers to some extent should pay attention to what children are saying and the behavior they're exhibiting and these warning signs, but you can't lock them up. You can't say, they sound like maybe they could be dangerous, so let's put them in prison or put them in a mental health institution or something like this. Well, you just can't do that to American citizens.
No, and the other thing is it's blown out of proportion. I mean, this is a tragic event. There's no question about it.
Very much so.
But I was looking at some of the school shootings, and this is 3 or more, and they hang on a second.
School shootings of three or more.
3 or more in the USA. The first
3 or more deaths. Are you talking?
3 or more deaths, and that includes the shooter if they kill themselves.
It does.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, we've had lots of murders in schools, and I didn't look at the ones where a disgruntled husband came in and shot her wife who happened to be a teacher, or a student that was mad about a grade and killed his professor. Those are bad, but those are not really mass killings. Those are, fits of passion. First killing in the U.S. Was in 1891, where a 70-year-old man fired a shotgun into a group of students in a playground in New York, and he killed, 4 or 5 students.
Okay.
That was the first one. But really, the second one I could find was 1940, and I found 17 of these in the last 115 years. So
okay.
I mean, it's not like these happen
they don't
every
happen
week.
every year even.
Yeah,
so.
1940
okay.
there were 5, and the really big one, 5 killings. I mean, one student in South Pasadena, California, shot 6 school officials because he was removed from the school. The big one, of course, was the tower shooting at the University of Texas, 1966. Yep. And then from there, we've had, take those 2 away, and you've got 15 shootings where 3 or more people were killed in the last 100 years. So it's not like these happen all the time. So I think, the whole country and Washington is overreacting. I mean, now they want to ban assault weapon ban, and they forget that both Littleton, Colorado, and there was another big killing happened during this weapons ban. So it did absolutely nothing to prevent any kind of murder in schools.
It sounded to me like they have some sort of an assault weapons ban in Connecticut.
And there was one in Connecticut.
This Bushmaster 223 that they keep calling it was legal under the assault weapons ban. And
Connecticut was more restrictive than most parts of the country.
Yeah.
So gun control doesn't work. And speaking of that, Dick's Sporting Good now is pulling all their assault type weapons off the shelf, and they're not going to sell them.
Basically, the black, scary-looking guns. And like you said, that's where he tried to purchase the firearm before this all happened.
I'm sure there was a connection there.
Yeah, there had to be.
But there are other gun manufacturers and other suppliers that are doing the same thing. I mean, they're overreacting.
Yeah, I saw Cheaper Than Dirt.
Cheaper Than Dirt is another
They
were
pulling firearms off, and
so
I don't understand that.
It's going over, and I'm gonna talk about what can be done. I mean, we're talking about what can be done, and this is not politically correct. In my position, I think Nate's is, and anybody with an ounce of logic is to allow law-abiding citizens to carry guns in school. If you have parents, teachers, and staff that are allowed, after training and background checks, to carry guns in there, I think you'd reduce the violence to almost zero. And I wrote
exactly right.
I'd like to read this if I could.
Yeah,
it should be quick. It's only like 300 words, but it's called "Vaccinations as a Model for Eliminating Gun-Free Zones." And this is it. The idea of allowing more guns in schools as a solution to preventing the mass slaughter of children seems counterintuitive. But then so did the vaccination theory. The idea of injecting the very thing that causes disease into a healthy person seemed preposterous. This crazy idea of taking a dead or weakened virus and injecting it into a healthy person so that antibodies would be produced seemed, impossible. The idea, though, was that the weakened or dead virus would promote the production of specific antibodies for that virus. Then, if a healthy person was exposed to the particular virus, the antibodies would take over and destroy them, thereby protecting the host from harm. And it works. It works very well. Vaccinations have saved millions of lives since its inception, and continues to do so today. Smallpox, polio, measles have killed more children than any mass murderer. So let's apply that theory to gun-free zones. Let's imagine a school is a host body, a person, so to speak, and the virus is a deranged killer that somehow gets into the host body and starts killing it. If the host is unprotected, that is, there's no antibodies, then the host could die. Now, let's inject some harmless viruses, let's say lawfully carried guns, into the host body. Guns, like viruses, can cause harm, but what if these harmless viruses, that is, lawful guns, were carried by lawful citizens like teachers, parents, and staff? Well then, these people become like antibodies, ready to attack any harmful virus that may prey upon the host body. These antibodies, that is, lawfully armed citizens, are now in a position to protect the host body by neutralizing the harmful viruses.